Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. I am doing a bonus video this week. Number one, because I've missed you. Number two, because I want to do some updates, sort of. And so rather than just talk, it's pretty hard for me not to keep my hands busy. So maybe as I just, blather on, I will be working on these curtain tiebacks. So these were part of a recent auction lot that I purchased. It said fabric and tassels. Well, yes, I guess theoretically these are tassels, but, like maybe in a giant's castle or something, certainly not at a scale that you and I can readily use. So I've just finally had a chance to look at what's really here. There are 4 of these, and of course this is my favorite. 4 of these, 2 of these gold ones, and 4 of these little sort of aubergine colored ones. Now, because I have this color in my house, I will be doing nothing to these. I like to sort of just, as a bit of whimsy, hang these over a doorknob or a knob on a piece of furniture or something like that. So my work here is done. So what I was kind of eyeing these things, and they're all constructed quite differently from what I can tell. And this could be a waste of time and effort. It could bear fruit, or it could be a combination of both. Now, to me, this looks like a knot from this cord. Now, of course, the easiest part, and I may just end up doing that, is cutting this right here and quickly fusing the end of it so it doesn't unravel. I've done the sort of untying to get this thing free. I guess I would see if that has any use whatsoever. For the time being, I guess I would hang on to it. With this, and of course, any cords that get salvaged, although this has to be a good ½ inch. And I think, and this one especially, look how beautiful this is. This is slightly smaller, but it's made up of 3 different fibers. So I would separate them to make it, well, I mean, I have 4 of these, so I could do different things, I guess. I would separate them into their 3 separate parts, and I would also leave some intact because, of course, if the ends are secured, this would make, although this is rather stiff, but this would make a lovely closure on a journal as well. Or even, glue something down as part of a journal topper. So I'm excited by the possibilities there. With this one, again, it's thicker, but of course there are, okay, in this case, there are 4 fibers, or maybe it's 3. That's just a well, whatever, 3 or 4 fibers. So, okay, let's just see how long these pieces of yarn are. So from the tip of the, or the bottom of there to here is roughly 7 inches. So that is not a bad, well, maybe it's more closer to 6. That's not a bad length to use to build some of these things into tassel making. Now, you know that once I cut this free, it's going to be insane because there will be a million pieces. So maybe, okay, I think what I'll do is I'll set this one aside for now, but you can see that it's got these mini tassels, this ribbon, and, presumably, if I could Oh. This might warrant its own video. Who knows? So let's make some room here and start doing something. We'll see what progress we make with this one. Okay. So I am just trying to, oh, so this is a trim that was glued on, I presume, as a finishing piece. So let me just get in there. It would be good if, this is probably the seam, but that's also where the glue would have overlapped. So let's just cut that there and see what we can see. Oh, yes. Okay, so 3 cute little fibers. Now, these, of course, at this point, I'm just going to sort of separate things by their type. Now, I would say that's probably wood. This is probably wood as well. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's cut this and see what happens. Because there, can you see that there's a thread, some, several wraps around this thing. This is like a, we should call this video a dissection, because it almost does seem like doing an autopsy or something, where you take it down to its essence. Now what? Okay, let's just cut this and see what happens. This must be holding something all together. Oops. Anyway, of course, that's not going to budge. I think just to reduce some of the bulk here, I think, oh, that's what's holding this down or together. Whoops. Well, that's good. So there's more of this stuff that, like this, that has already been removed. Oh, and this was just wrapped around. Oh, this is different than that. Okay, so we've got that piece there. This is now freed up, but I would have to cut through it to be able to take that big knot apart. Anyway, part of why I wanted to do a video is just to say, to apologize to my fellow YouTubers. I have been so swamped with personal stuff that I haven't watched any videos. I barely, well, now this morning I caught up on replying to comments on my videos, but it's been an insane few weeks, and it's not quite over yet, but I thought it was time to give you maybe an update. Oh my goodness, this is tough. Okay, so because I tape in advance, anything that I say is only true, for, or accurate for that day. Now, that day that it was taped might have been, what should I use to get in there? Maybe don't want to split any fibers or... Anyway, what would have been true and accurate that day, obviously status changes. So in the last several weeks, and as I rattle off these events, the thing to remember is that each one of them has taken days and often weeks of preparation. So I took part in a doll and toy show, moved some stuff that we have, that my husband has been collecting for 40 or 50 years, like car model kits, farm toys, I tried to sell my 1990, well, the thing I bought in 1991, a 2-story dollhouse with attached veranda, and it seems to me, like go big or go home. Why would I just pick a small dollhouse kit and never do it when I could pick a big dollhouse kit with additional, like with add-ons, like individual cedar shakes, a veranda, and 2, like an addition at each end, and not do it. Anyway, finally, I thought, okay, it's time to part with this. Now, as it turns out, I was asking fairly big money for it, and I didn't get a buyer. Maybe I'll have to put it on eBay or Etsy or something. But it's probably a blessing in disguise. Would you believe I didn't have the whole thing there? There were 2 complete boxes that I left at home. And I was, 50 kilometers away in another town. So anyway, got through that. But that just was leading up to the townwide garage sale. And of course, I live on a farm, so the only way I would ever really participate in that is to team up with my sister. So we did that. So of course there's a setup, dragging folding tables to town, tablecloths. They had draped the walls in the garage that they wanted to cover up, what was not for sale and so on. Okay, so look at this. So this looks like, when a girl has crimped her hair or braided her hair, that little wave is still in it. So when I get the feeling back in my body, I will take this apart and I will end up with these nice, let's see how long this is, by the way. Okay, let's say that's 24, 48. What's 48 and 24? I don't know. Anyway, there's a good 5 feet or so here. So that's a nice amount. Put that aside. Okay, so prepping for that garage sale. So because the townwide is on a Saturday, we usually add on to our hours. Maybe I'm just going to cut this. I hope these aren't all glued on there, but I guess we'll see in a second. We try to catch the Friday evening people going to the lake kind of traffic. Well, that kind of backfired in the sense that, I can see something here. In the sense that the only people that came Friday evening were town people, which was fine because sold a bunch of stuff to them. There have been, I wonder if this is the connecting point. There have been absolutely wretched winds for weeks now, and the only rain we have seen, we haven't seen it. The only rain that we hear about is in the forecast, but it never actually falls out of the sky. So things are getting kind of scary in terms of crops germinating and so on. And I haven't planted a single seed. I haven't been to a greenhouse or a nursery or bought a single flat of bedding plants or pots or anything. Haven't done anything like that because there really hasn't been time. Today I will get out there and do some watering, though, to try to help the trees and perennials along. Anyway, very scary. Huge problem with wildfires, not very close to us, but you'd have to be heartless and I don't know, short-sighted to not feel pain and sorrow for the people whose lives are being affected, for the health risks from the particulate that's in the air from the smoke, and for the environment herself or itself. Okay, so it looks like I've had no choice but to, and these look and feel like little chenille bits, and they are about 6.5 inches. So again, that could easily be made into smaller little clumps and part of smaller, a tassel that is a more usable scale for what we're doing. Okay, so fires. And we know, well, I remember from science learning that not only, wind helps spread fire, but not only that, the fire itself creates its own wind and air movement and so on, energy in that way. So it is horrific that we haven't gotten any rain. So it blew and blew and blew and blew Friday, those few hours that we were there, and all day Saturday. And it's so draining. Asked my brother-in-law if he had an electric heater for the garage, and he rounded something up. So like I was underdressed for the climate. Oh, see, there's this little shorter petticoat around the actual wooden thing, but of course that's too short to be of any use, so I'll just cut these. These are almost like mop-like fibers. Anyway, so long story short, it wasn't the best sale we've ever had, but it certainly wasn't the worst one either. I think if I'm walking away with a few $100s in my jeans, that it's a good thing. And of course, to not leave a mess there at my sister's yard, we did all the boxing up of the unsold items. I took mine. It took the Venza and the truck to take home the sawhorses and the tables that we brought, as well as the unsold items. So then, that was Saturday. I was so, chilled for one thing, and that wind just sapped the energy out of me. Anyway, would you believe that I slept in till 11:30 on Sunday morning, which was yesterday, and I don't sleep like that, man. The only time I sleep those kinds of extended hours is if I'm recovering. I'm all drugged up and recovering from a surgery or something. You sleep sort of the sleep of the dead. But I guess I needed it. Anyway, so then I got up Sunday morning, or noonish, and so I think I'm just going to cut my losses here and throw this away. Because yes, I could try to save these little bits, but why? Why? So call that guy done. Now, of course, when I do the others off camera, I will group the like with like. Let's maybe try the gold one next, because I still have more talking to do. So I'm throwing this straight in the garbage now. So I took Sunday, so after I got up on Sunday, I went to the garage and started sorting the leftovers, the unsold items, so that I could decide what to donate where. This charter school is going to be opening this fall, and wherever possible, I want to help with, keeping donations local. And another thing that the place will have, first time in Andrew's history, is a daycare. So, you know, between what is needed in a daycare and what's, you know, good for kids in kindergarten and grade 1, you know, I had a number of toys that, or, you know, educational stuff that could be given to them. So I've put that stuff aside, still haven't dealt with it because there's time. This almost feels wired. It is wired. So I don't know if I want to, well, for the time being, I'll set that aside. Okay, so how is this attached? There's this. Okay, let me try to cut or tear apart this knot here. And then that might, oh, well, that was kind of easy. Okay, that little bit is glued together. Maybe I can pull this through now. Oh, sorry if I'm off camera, but that worked better than I thought. So I can slide this thing off. And here are 2 braided, well, I guess they're just wrapped around each other. So 2, this is shorter, obviously, than the last thing. So 22, 44, not quite 60 inches. And this is really soft, so this could make a good journal tie thing. Okay, now this. What is going on here? Oh, this looks like it's a fringe that was just wrapped around. Can you see? I mean, I don't know. This could be a bad move, but I'm going to do it. Oh my goodness, that worked like a hot damn. Now, whether or not this holds together, I guess remains to be seen. I should probably... Uh-oh. What's going on here? This feels like if I make a wrong move, it's going to all fall apart. Maybe I won't touch that at this point. Okay, so that's 2 down. Well, then let's stay on a roll here. Okay, so what did I say last? Oh, yes. So that was all Sunday morning. Now, because I haven't seen, oh, there's a little bit of wire here. Wire cutters. Because I haven't seen Hillary and Ash since they've been back from New Zealand, since the big proposal, the big yes, since Gertie has been sick and hospitalized, I had been throwing, as I always do, I'd been throwing things in a bag that I needed to take to her, including, of course, like I'm a marriage commissioner. I have no idea if they'll want me to perform the ceremony or not. They don't seem to know anything about anything at this point, and I have no feelings one way or the other. When my son was getting married, their choice was to get married in church. So I have no skin in the game. It doesn't matter to me one little bit. I always believe that couples, I'm going to see if I can do this without cutting myself open. Maybe the spatula thing would be better. I always believe that couples should have the day of their dreams. I say that to strangers, and obviously I believe it at my core, and that can be, 400 guests and an extravaganza, and it can be the couple, 2 witnesses, and me. And I've done that and everything in between. Anyway, so obviously the belief applies to my own kids as well. So anyway, they were just toiling away. They have a wooden deck and, flight of stairs. Not flight, but, several stairs. I think I should cut this off because it's so globby. Front and back of the house. And it's a stained thing. Well, on the treads of the stairs, of course, that's where the most wear shows. So they, we had lent them a bunch of sanders and so on. So that's what they were working on. And I, of course, decided that I'm playing hooky. I'm not going to do a damn thing. I'm going to, take my donations that were not going to go to the school, take them and donate them in Edmonton. Where did that other thing fly to? Take the donations to Edmonton and be done with them. And, factor in a short visit. Oh, I wonder if that will... I was hoping that by removing some of that, it would free up this stuff to go back through the hole, but again, I don't know what's what here, so maybe if I just pull a bit of this out, I can free it up. So it was a short visit, and I know that I interfered with their, broke into their work schedule, although they did look pretty beat up and tired. So maybe they needed the break too. So yeah, I stayed there a bit. Then I came home straight, even though I passed a number of garage sale signs. I absolutely was not in the frame of mind. Have I been to a garage sale this year yet? I don't know, perhaps one. You can't have gone through as much hard work as I have lately, getting rid of stuff, and then in the next breath, acquire more. It does not compute. So, okay, now I have this, and frankly, I don't care if it frays because that's what I would do anyway. Now, if these guys start unraveling, I would put Scotch tape on them temporarily. But this is a nice long piece. Let's get a rough idea for how long this one is. I'm not going to try to add 24s. I'll just do 22s. So 22, 44, 66, 66 and 20, so about 86 inches. So what is that, like 7 feet or something? And I love this, love this. Okay. Now let's tackle this beast and hope that my stories end at the same time that this project does. Boy, it would be nice to figure out how this was. Like, this is quite attractive in itself. Oh, I could take this gimp off. Figure out where that... Okay, I think right here. Maybe that will give me a clue. Okay, so that was Sunday. So, which reminds me, that's on my to-do list for today. I have been postponing, again, because all these deadlines were all coming together at the same time. And don't forget, I should say that too. In the meantime, one of the things that I, of course, was compelled to follow through on was my live sale with my sidekick Sandy, Woolamina. So so that was last Thursday. And I will say to those ladies who bought something for me the month before, I did say that during the sale, and it was nice to see new people as well. So for the people that bought something last month and the people that bought something last Thursday, I will be packaging and invoicing, maybe even tomorrow, which is Tuesday. Uh-oh. Anyway, okay, so I lost my train of thought. So I did that. But the other thing that has been weighing on me, preying on me for, weeks and weeks now, no, more like years and years, is doing something about my vast book collection. Those of you who watched and are aware of and this would be probably 2 or more years ago, I did a series of videos. I have a playlist on my channel called What's in My Bookcase. And at that point, I was, look at this. I was showing people, and look how lovely this is. I was showing, a shelf at a time, what was on my bookcase. And because I was, at that point, pretty organized, had all my, what's going on here? This guy goes that way. Had all my, maybe not. It's like a really fancy grass skirt. And it will be my pleasure. Let me just cut this thread here and see if these pieces are one. Like 2 pieces of ribbon. Where does this guy belong? Anyway, let's just cut this and see what happens. Okay, so that's the end piece, but how is that really Oh, there goes the thread. Maybe that's a good thing, though. Okay, let's see what we have here. Oh, the ribbon is continuous, and they just threaded the tassels on here and there. That's maybe better than what I was envisioning. Whoops. Let's just cut these threads and see what we get here. Anyway, okay, so I've been buying books as long as I've been alive. And I've said this before, so sorry if you're hearing it for the umpteenth time. But over the years, again, because of how my brain is wired, and I follow my interests, my curiosity, wherever it takes me. So that means that if I'm interested in a particular thing, I'm going to educate myself about it. And part of that, of course, involves buying books. So I have I have hundreds of books based on different areas of interest and subject matter. But then, fast forward kind of to 2020 and the introduction to junk journals and bookmaking, although I did have many of the old titles on bookmaking in my library prior to even hearing the term junk journal, because I'd always thought, oh my goodness, wouldn't that be an awesome thing to do? And I had done very simple pamphlet type things, not real books, because I was too scared. Anyway, so hundreds of books. And as interest wanes or I move on to the next thing. And again, that is a legitimate way to live. It's not a weirdo thing. And you've heard me talk about, oh, now I have the, maybe that is where it was supposed to end. If you've heard me talk about Barbara Sher, Sher, and her book, Refuse to Choose, that is me personified. That is her personified. And, oh, see, now I made that one all a standalone. Maybe I should try to take out the rest of these threads. Anyway, seam ripper would be good. So, hundreds of books. And of course, the kind that I've been buying in recent years are books that are important. You know, they're vintage, they're important to journal making. They are a whole new category of books. Well, no, let me say that more accurately. There is a whole category of books in conjunction to many of the ones I already owned, like flower books and art books and bird books that I had in my own collection prior to that. Sewing books, craft books, that sort of thing. I already owned a lot of those. Of course, I have acquired many more since then. I have some books, very few, listed on Etsy, and I have been selling books through my live sale. However, that's a pretty slow process. And some books are so heavy that it just doesn't make any sense for anyone to buy them and ship them any distance unless it is something that a person really covets. And I do have some of those. Anyway, long story short, I've been talking to an auctioneer for more than a year, you know, hemming and hawing and, you know, trying to pick the perfect time, blah, 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 you know, outsmart the market, fit it into my already busy life. And then finally I figured, well, I won't tell you what I actually said to her, but it was time to put up or shut up. So we agreed on a date in June, and it's June. And so the deal was that I would do the lotting of the books. Like, so if it's a particularly precious book, that one book is the lot. If they are of less value or less desirable in today's market, then, you know, you put a few together to sweeten the deal. So I would do the lotting and I would write the descriptions. Well, you know, I'm not afraid of words. So I thought I'm going to be writing some spectacular, sorry if you can't see that, I'm just trying to see where I can get this thing started. Maybe it's all like just swirled around and I don't end up with 5 million threads. I end up with one. I think this is where the glob of glue is the biggest. So it doesn't take long to figure out that, oh my goodness, if I try to list every title and all particulars about every book, you know, I'm going to, you know, this is going to take forever. Anyway, so I talked to the auctioneer the other day and she says, you know, oh, and she's going to do the photography. And I, of course, have to get the books to the auction site. So that's what I was doing this morning. Well, damn it, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Although I must say that all this physical activity... Oh, one of the... Okay, let me just back up. I have delayed going back to my GP to hear test results, although everything is fine. I know that already. You know, mammography, bone densitometry, blood and urine analysis. He's not going to tell me anything bad. because if there's anything bad, they would have gotten me in pronto. So it's just a routine thing. So I've postponed that once. I also have been wanting to take in spring, summer items to this lady's consignment shop. So things that I take there are purses. I sold a bunch of winter boots there. They also take decor items. The books they take have to be within 3 years, I think. So anyway, I've never taken books there. So I postpone. That's the other thing. I'm going to have to postpone it again because I cannot make that happen on Wednesday. Oh, look at. Little blobs of glue here and there holding it all together. Ugh. Oh. So maybe it was done in these little sections. Again, like a grass skirt. Here's another chunk. Oh, that maybe was just a small piece to finish it off. Oh, I'm pretty happy with how this went. Okay, so there's still this bit in here. Maybe if I had pliers, I could pull this all through, and then this could almost be, oh geez, I just pinched myself. This could be, well, let me put this aside. It's kind of good in a sense that it has all those glue blobs on there because it's holding it all together. So how much of this do I have? About 1 foot of this fringy stuff. Okay, so let's see if I can pull this out, and by then I have to end this video. These are not the greatest, but they're all kind of the only thing I have handy. Anyway, so I've postponed taking that. You have to make an appointment to take items into consign. So I'm going to be taking sandals in, because you know what it's like. You have your favorites and you wear those. And the rest, you know, they just go up and down at the change of seasons. From the basement, from a bin in the basement to the, you know, the closet up here. Anyway, maybe I can use this to poke in there. Oh, I'm going to break it or bend it. That's not good. So I've done that. I've postponed that twice. But what I started doing today, well, I filled the car with about 100 lots of books. And so I had started lotting, and of course she kind of wants them in numerical order to make her life easier. I had started in the house because that's where most of the books are. But I also had a number of books in the garage. And then I came back to the house. Anyway, long story short, I kind of had to do 2 locations, park the car as close as I possibly could to minimize the distance, because no matter how small a box or bag you put books in, we all know how heavy they are. And and another thing that I rescheduled and delayed was my appointment for physio, because of course I was seeing her for my poor left shoulder. Well, I'll tell you, I think all this, we might have some action now. Oh! All of this activity has served to, you know, improve muscle tone and strength. It damn near kills you in the process, but it does seem to have made a difference. I almost have this out. So anyway, that car. So now I'm ready to drive in bright and early Wednesday morning with the first 100 or so lots of books to allow her time to do the photography. If I had a decent set of pliers at my fingertips, or I could just cut it flush and save myself. That's another possibility. Anyway, I'm going to stop there because my hands are aching. Yeah, so that is what has been going on. So I'll just reiterate. If you bought something from me, this is why there's been a delay in me invoicing. Well, of course, those bloody tariffs and all that thing. But I will be packaging and invoicing in the next few days. If you have noticed, or if you haven't seen my thumbs up and comments on your videos, it's because I haven't watched any. And that is also why. How long have I been here? It feels like it's been a while. Oh my goodness, 46 minutes. But look at all of this lusciousness. And of course, I do have all 7 more to do. And I'm leaving these guys intact. Anyway, it has been, I don't know what it's been. I don't know how it's been for you. I hope what it has shown you is that if you take your time and be a little methodical, you can get a lot of raw material out of these dated drapery tiebacks. But just, kind of go slow and kind of deconstruct in reverse of how it would have been built in the first place. But so that's what you might have gotten out of this. What I got out of this, and I need to get something out of this too, is I got to talk to you. I got to recap and recalibrate maybe just how hard I've worked and what I've been through lately. But I'll tell you, there is a freeing, there's a sense of pride, there's a sense of relief, there is a maybe a feeling of generosity, particularly with those donations. And there's also the feeling that, I'm bigger than my stuff, that I can let go, that I have the the wisdom and the grace to admit that some of these things are maybe we're buying mistakes, or I've had plenty of time to use them, and if I didn't, that was, that's on me. And just like letting go and moving on. So again, it's always a crapshoot with an auction because you don't know if the buyers are going to be there. There are fees associated with doing this, not to mention the sweat equity that I put into it. So, that all remains to be seen. However, there is something to be said just for taking control of one's stuff. So, I'm almost out of videos that I have pre-made, so I am just aching for the day that I can get back in here. Oh, by the way, the third baby was born. It's another girl. So I did a matching cover the other day. So all 3 women are going to get the same books, same covers anyway, well, let me show you. I used this baby quilt that I bought a long time ago. Anyway, so Cicely, Scarlett, and Paige are all getting baby books. Plus, I still have to do the one, not have to, want to. I'm aching to do the one for Carol and our journal swap that's coming up in July. So, and of course, in the meantime, there's also Heart to Heart and so on. Oh, by the way, it's Martha this week on June 12th. So be sure to tune in for that. It's going to be a good one. And yeah, anyway, that's where I've been. That's what I've been doing. And I just appreciate having you there listening to all this because I needed to verbalize it to somebody. Okay, guys, thank you, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.